Marriage advice for Christian couples. My name is Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. And we oftentimes get, because we have a free service at the Marriage Foundation where people could write in about what they're going through, and they will get free advice from a counselor who is certified by us in our approach to marriage. And oftentimes someone will inform us that I'm Christian and my husband or my wife, etc. And then they go on and they start to blame their husband or wife for whatever is ailing their marriage. As if they're saying, I'm a Christian, so I own this, but my spouse is not following the way of Christ, and so they're losers. How do I handle it? Well, somewhere in the Bible, it says, be sure to remove the log from your eye, the beam from your eye, before you take out the sliver in someone else's. And that certainly comes into play. And the point that I'm trying to make is that you may be working very diligently on being a good Christian, and even so may your spouse. And everyone, not everyone, but most people think that there are specific guidelines for marriage in the Bible. But the truth is that they're big guidelines and they don't get into the day-to-day. But what's really an unfortunate thing is that most priests and bishops and ministers and pastors are not really good at interpreting what is in the Bible for the parishioners. They do as good a job as they can, but they haven't nailed marriage. They have other things that they are working on, and they have an idea of how people should behave, but they miss the two main promises of marriage, which are incredibly spiritual, and so because of that, they sort of miss the whole thing. What are the two main promises of marriage? One, that you're going to be happier every single day of your life. Is that Christian? Yeah. Jesus said, go in good cheer. He wants us to be joyful. Why? Because joy is of the soul. You are a soul. You have a body. You have a mind. Christ is God's representative. He's showing you the way, but then you still criticize your spouse. You say mean things about them. You need to have a real understanding. When the promise is that you will be happier every day of your life when you're married, what should that mean to you? It should mean, and I've been doing this for a long time, and here's how I get the results. And by the way, you really should subscribe to this channel so you learn about marriage. But when you're married to someone, it's your obligation to make them happier every single day of their life. It's your job. It's your obligation. That's what you promised. And even Christians will say, yeah, but he doesn't do that for me, and it's a dance of partners. Well, that's not a Christian thing to say. Both husbands and wives say that because there's so much disinformation in our society. The second promise, to me, is glorious. It is an amazing promise. And that is that you will feel unconditional love, ever expanding, because love has no boundaries, in increased measure every single day of your married life. That's what marriage is all about. And whatever you do, you could plan your own marriage help course. I have them, of course, and I have books, but it should be directed towards those two promises. If you go to build a house, you put out a list of materials that you need and you plan your work. Well, you're building your marriage. Every single day, you're adding to it. You don't want to go and throw rocks in the windows. You want to add beautiful things to the house you call marriage. You want it to be glorious. It should be. It could be. This is very doable. There are things you have to learn. They should be teaching us these things as we grow up. For instance, we're not taught that our mind is a possession and that it's our obligation to control the mind. We don't learn that, Christian or not. Nobody learns this. It's so important because if you don't learn that you're in charge of your mind and it's your obligation to control it, well, it's like having a dog that doesn't listen to you. It'll do whatever it wants, and it's your enemy. Your soul is who you are, and it's like your mind is doing everything it can through defensiveness, ideas of retaliation, ideas of vindictiveness, ideas of all kinds of bizarre ideas that keep us earthbound, not enjoying the fruits of God, which are bountiful in the marriage. As a Christian, learn how to be married. When you got a car and wanted to get your license, well, maybe you looked for a Christian driving school, but it wouldn't have mattered. You should have been looking for the best driving school so you could learn how to drive. I hope you get the idea. The main thing is that there's two promises of marriage. Your goal is to be happier and give happiness to your spouse every single day of your life so that you're happier today than you were yesterday. And you should be feeling more love. And you have control over that today than you did yesterday. Christ's blessings upon you. God bless you. And thank you for giving me the time to share with you. Take care.